Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is Watch Art Side, the art and science of watch collection. Today what I want to do is to take a look at watches that Gentleman's Quarterly, GQ, had recommended as the tip top, sort of as this is the kind of watch that you'd find in the executive suite. Now, they had a lot of them and some were, were sort of not exactly of the higher echelons, I'll put it that way. But they had a lot of interesting choices, and so I'm going to take a look at them. Now, there are 10 of them. They had, I don't know, perhaps 30 or so, but I picked these 10. And so let's take a look at them. These would be my picks for an executive watch. The first one is this Patek Philippe. It's an inline perpetual calendar. And if you look right down below 12 o'clock, you can see it says Saturday, 18 March. And that is the inline calendar. And then it also has a moon phase, but the big thing is the perpetual calendar. About 4 o'clock, there's a little circle with a 3 in it, which would be, you have it divided up into different quadrants because one of the quadrants will be leap year, so it's also set for that. And along the side, it's got 3 little, they call them correctors, I call them pushers, and little point pushers. And so you make your adjustments with that. This, I think, would be a good example of one, I think, that would be a very good executive watch. This next one by Olanga Sunda, the Longa 1 time zone. This is basically a world timer. And again, when you have a watch when you have someone in an executive position who travels a lot, you're going to need some kind of world timer, and especially if you do it a lot. And this one would be a nice one to have. The 2 new things on this one compared to the older one is that both time zones have the day-night, and you can see at the sort of the larger of the 2 subdials, you'll see a little happy, looks like a little blue smiley face. What that is, it indicates that when the hour hand is over the dark part, it's night. When it's over the light part, it's day. The same thing is true at the one over the subdial at 4 o'clock. I have my Parmigiani Tonda Hemispheres has the same thing, and having this dual day-night really is very helpful because you can tell at a glance. You don't want to call somebody at 3 o'clock in the morning if you're on traveling. So this would be a very nice watch. By the way, I didn't put the prices on these. They're high. I'll put it that way. But they vary so much. There's some of them are going to have a VAT of 20%, some not so much. All kinds of things like that. So if you want to find out more about them, look up the price in your area where you live, get an idea. Now, this one was a real surprise from GQ. This is from Anderson Geneve Tempus Terraire. This is another world timer, and Sven Anderson is one of the top watchmakers in the world, and he still does some of the movements for Anderson Geneve, the namesake after him, but they own the company. This is a neat watch. It also has the day-night. Now, the diamond set bezel is optional. That was the one they have pictured, and so I thought, well, I'll put it up there, but it's optional, which means you don't have to hand it. I would opt out, especially in an executive position. Now, this next one is the Brigade Tradition Quantami Retrograde. This one is an unusual one, I think, for an executive. And I looked at it, and I thought, I'm going to go find another Brigade that I like better, which I think would be an executive. But the more I looked at it, the more I realized this is really a cool watch. This is a perpetual calendar. Right along the bottom, you see from about 8 o'clock up to about 4 o'clock, you have these numbers, which is a retrograde calendar. And this watch is smart enough to know which months have 30 days, 31, even 28 for February. Takes into account leap years. This is really an amazingly neat watch. And the thing I like about it, it looks like something that the Abraham Brigade would have made. And so this is, I think, for an executive who's has to be pretty cool. I think, like this kind of stuff. Now, this watch is one. I was thinking, well, what about women executives? More and more women are getting into executive positions today. And this watch, I think it's okay. Women don't have to wear men's watches. They can wear what they want to. And this Moritz Grossmon Tefnut Arabian Nights, I think, could be a great one for a woman's CEO. It's one reason is that Moritz Grossman's CEO is a woman, Christine Hutter. And so this is another thing I think that we're going to see more and more of, is that we have to take into consideration more and more women and in executive positions, and to give them, say, well, here's an executive watch that looks like some guy's watch. I don't think that's going to fly anymore, but I think this is a great one. Now, this next one, FP Journe. This is a watch that Gentleman's Quarterly recommended, an FP Journe Resonance. Now the Resonance that they picked was the new one with the Remontoy Galatea, which is, and I said, this thing is going to be worth a lot. Well, they're right about that, but I don't know if it would be a very good watch, for the executive suite. Essentially, it's a time only, but a very good time only watch, but not one I think that I would recommend for an executive. I mean, really a working executive, I wouldn't recommend it. On the other hand, this FP Journe Quantum perpetual calendar, this one is a really neat one. It has it's automatic, but it has a power reserve indicator over at 9 or off of 9 o'clock. And it's very clear, it's very easy to read. And this particular one is in platinum. It's a good idea. 3 hertz, just a good solid watch. Easy to read the date. It has the date up under the 12, and then right above the 6, you can see the day of the month. Very, very nice watch, and I think it's a better idea than using the resonance. Now, this next one is really a much cooler watch than I think a lot of people realize. This is Airmass, Slim Airmass GMT. This is the dual time, and it has the Agenor 4141, which is an extra flat GMT module. Okay, so it includes 2 day-night indicators, and then they have the date down at 6 o'clock. It has a hand date, and it's down below there, and you can see the little hand date hands that it's got the night and day indicators, those 2 little dots right off of the 2. And the big thing is it's got this Agenor 4141 module in there, which is really makes it extra special watch. It's not just any old watch. Now, when it came to Rolex, what they had for Rolex was a Submariner with sort of a goldy yellow one of the new colors that they have, which is neat. It's a very cool watch, but I thought, for an executive, I like these two. Couldn't make up my mind which I like better, the Cellini Moon phase or the Sky Dweller. I like them both. The Cellini Moon phase has a hand date that's all around on the outer rim of it. The moon phase, just the moon phase, is not the most practical thing in the world, but sort of a nice thing, a good-looking watch. The other one is the Sky Dweller. The thing about the Sky Dweller that I like is the fact that it's dual time. It's a dual time watch. And again, this is, for a modern executive, I think a dual time watch is important. Now, This one is another new one. And again, these are all suggested by Gentleman's Quarterly. The Rolexes weren't. That was my idea because I didn't like the choice. But so much for that. Now, this one, the Vacheron Constantin Patrimony Moon phase retrograde date. This one, I love the watch. I mean, you have from about 10 o'clock to right before 3 o'clock and a little after, 9 o'clock, you have this date, like a hand date. And it's a retrograde. And so when it gets over to 31, you can watch it move back again. And it's a very clean watch. It's one you can tell the time at a glance. The moon phase down below has a little indicator for where the moon phase is. Again, moon phases, this was their recommendation. Generally, moon phases, I don't do much with them. I have one. They're nice to have, but that's about all I can say that they're in that. Now, this last one was really a surprise for me. This is the Van Cleef Arpels RDC et heure d'ailleurs, which means time here and time there, actually hour here and hour there. And I have one of these, and it's a great watch. And the interesting thing about it is that Pierre Arpels first designed the base, what was the base for this watch. It was sort of a gentleman's fancy watch. And he did that in 1949. Now, I don't think it was until 1967 that he said, well, I think we'll make them for everybody. He just had his special watch made just for himself. And so later on, they decided, in this modern world, we need to have two dates on there, sort of dual time. So they went to Agenor, and Agenor, they said, look, what we want was, I think it was a Piaget that they had been using before, a Piaget movement. And they said, what we'll do is that we can put a Piaget movement in here, and then we'd like you to make a module so we could have dual time. Now, he worked on it and said, look, I can't do this with the Piaget. I'm going to start from scratch. He made this incredible movement, and then for the dual time, he used the two jumping hours, one at 11 o'clock and another one at 5 o'clock, these two little windows. And so you can set the thing. Really, it's a wonderful watch, but I was surprised to see it because you don't see a lot of these. The Caliber AGH 6029 is totally Agenor. It's not one of his modules on it like it was on the Airmass we looked at. Well, look, these are, like I said, these are sort of an edited version of what GQ recommended for the modern executive, and I'd really like to hear what you have to say, anything that you'd like to add or you think should be subtracted. So anyway, let me know. This is a wonderful opportunity to subscribe if you'd like. And until next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection.